we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat with Corey O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals, here on this Monday, June 1st. Wow, we are officially in June. I mean, it's not officially summer yet, O'Leary, but it's June 1st. It's going to be 88 degrees tomorrow, so that's close enough for me.
It's certainly going to feel like summer. We had a beautiful weather weekend.
It was the most incredible, oh my gosh, it was absolutely, that's what you call Chamber of Commerce weather there. I mean, there was not a lick of humidity. It was like 78 degrees, whatever. It was perfect. Incredible.
You can't draw up weather for if you enjoy doing anything outside, you can't draw up this weekend's weather any better.
It was certainly fun to get out. I know that there's a lot going on socially, so it's kind of hard to talk about fun with all that stuff. Can't ignore that stuff. A lot of protests going on and here in our own in Indianapolis, down in Louisville, a lot of stuff out there. But hopefully that the peaceful protests, those that are sincere in their hearts, that stuff's going to come through, because obviously the other that stuff, I think those people are not really – there's two separate groups almost, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that part of it. I mean, it's just some big time changes need to be made. I think a lot of people, or the most people, agree with that statement. It just is the way that some people are going about it is it's only going to delay that process. And you know, I'm not trying to take a stand one way or the other. Everybody has their own way of handling and dealing with things. But when you do it and you break the law, you know, at the end of the day, you're probably going to have to deal with some terrible things with that. It's just a tough situation all the way. I don't know. I feel so badly for so many different aspects of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's the looting and the violence. I think that's just a group. I think that's a separate group. I really do. I think that's what their intent is. But the people that are protesting, it's a great group of solidarity. It doesn't matter the color lines. You see people coming together out there, and hopefully that continues, because you're right. Change has to come. And I think that this may be finally the time where that happens. I mean, the protest in Louisville, that's actually over something different. There was a woman that was shot there on a no-knock warrant that had nothing to do with it, and then police shoot her. So, but yeah, so hopefully change comes. And we've seen Tom Allen. He spoke out. He read a statement. He made a statement on it, and you know that his is sincere. He is just about love each other. It's his mantra, and he means that. And his players are sending that same out. So that's the kind of stuff, and that's a place where we have to start. And it's a great place, because that's a group of people, and it doesn't matter the color. There's a group of people starting out, and that's what their goal is. And hopefully that continues from there. It would be great to see Tom Allen's mantra of LEO just continue across.
Yeah, and you know what? Sports has a great ability to influence and affect a lot of different things. I mean, we see how big a deal not having sports right now is to a lot of people. So you know the impact it has on people's lives in general. And so I think it's a good opportunity, you know, to be a part of the positive change that needs to take place. And you know, hopefully that's what it can be used for. I mean, you know, hopefully athletes use it in a positive way, and you know, the sports in general themselves, from the owners, you know, in professional ranks all the way down to the coaches and athletic directors and administration and college ranks. And you know, that's the way that they're going to get stuff accomplished, not by rioting and looting and that crazy stuff.
Absolutely. And we see a great, I think a great wide swath of people, now we also see Seth Towns arrested in Columbus, peaceful protesting. He did nothing. So he's being supported by his coaches. Malcolm Brogdon, Pacer involved. Mark Cuban led a vigil down in Dallas. So we see these guys all out there together, which is great. And hopefully that stays that way, because that's where unity comes, by being together. So hopefully, and athletes, you know, you mentioned it, they play a prominent role. I mean, and they're trying to use their clout as best they can, and they're putting a lot of risk when they do that, because these guys have multi-million-dollar contracts, and they're putting themselves at risk by getting out in front of there. So it's good to see, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, it just, when you see guys in the NBA like LeBron, for example, and it used to be Kobe and guys like that, Deion Sanders, when you see guys take to Twitter and take to social media and do things to try to bring awareness, and that, I think all of that, everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, I think a lot more people respect that. I think that that's probably the best way to handle it and the best way to go about it. And then what it leads to from there is up to them. I mean, how involved they want to be is up to them. And I think everybody has that right. That's just one of the parts that, if you deep down get into the roots and think about it, I mean, people claim to love, being an American and living in the United States because of all of our freedoms. And, our freedoms don't include rioting and looting and two wrongs, for just to put it super simply, two wrongs don't make a right. And people going about and thinking you can just have mass chaos, that's not what this is supposed to stand for. And that's where I think they just they're taking the attention away from what real issues can be changed and have something done about it. And they're just creating issues, not just other issues, but big time issues for themselves.
Absolutely. A short piece out of what Tom Allen's statement. My heart is telling me I need to say something, that sitting in silence is wrong. I just feel like the silence was wrong because who I represent and what our team is made of. And he goes on and on. But and that there's not a more sincere guy in the world than Tom Allen. But need lots more of him doing that. And hopefully that continues to move forward. Now, not to make light of it in any way, but it's hard not to at least get the enjoyment of the comedic aspect out of J.R. Smith's episode during the protest, the former Cleveland Cav. I think this is out in L.A. He was parked someplace, and his car was vandalized, and he whoop that ass is his quote. It was a direct quote of him, which was kind of funny. So there's just some try to take some comedic value out of that part of it. It was kind of funny. Some guy damaged his car, and he found him, chased him down, and it was kind of like the old coach of the Packers chasing that guy down to get his hat when we were watching those clip. Lombardi, he chased that guy down. I said, nope, wasn't having none of that. So a little bit of comedy out of that. So, but it's hard to laugh, but got to try to find a smile, someplace to smile, I guess.
Yeah, that situation, I think we all kind of can understand. You see someone break the window out in your car, I mean, they obviously have some intent to steal things from you. Now, from that point on, I mean, as soon as I saw the video, he's a public figure. He's a well-known public figure, obviously. Otherwise, TMZ or whoever else wouldn't be reporting on it. But, I will be surprised if he doesn't get some ramifications from that video, because you just can't do that. I mean, no matter what happens, you can't take that. That's vigilante justice, whether you agree with it or don't, which I'm not saying I do or don't. I'm just saying. I'll say
I agree with it. In a normal circumstance.
I'm with you. It's hard to argue against it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not the way the laws are written. And, I hope that situation, what, those people shouldn't have been. I thought the police chief from Indianapolis said it very positively on Saturday when he was giving his interview, and said, look, if you're down here after a certain time, you're probably getting into something you probably shouldn't be getting into. And that's a very true statement. I mean, heck, I raising my kids, I say that all the time. You need to be home by 11:30. If you need to do something out after 11:30, it's probably something you shouldn't be doing.
Exactly.
He's right. He's right on the money with that.
Getting back to some positive stories, Tim hit his text line up. They spent the weekend at Patoka Lake having a good time. Alan says, good morning, guys. Looks like Todd's got some nice golfing weather for a few days. Sure you guys have a great hand. Let's get to it. Yep, looks good out there. Thanks, Alan. I hope you guys are having a good time down there. Also, Larry, man, that Sean Morris is a riot. anytime he can come on, get him. Haven't had a chance to call CLS yet. Have a great weekend. That was Friday, obviously. But, yeah, Sean Morris, he was funny, man. He's always great to have on, but he was hilarious.
Sean's one of those people. It wouldn't matter. Like, I'm so glad that he does, Big Ten basketball broadcasting. But, it's almost like he's bigger than that. Like, he really is.
Just so smart.
We get him. He could do any broadcasting at any level. I mean, he's just witty. He understands his information. And I love when he says, the basis for everything that he does is just preparation and preparing. And he knows a lot about a lot of different topics. So it's pretty easy for him to just speak out on him. He's one of the most fun interviews that we have all the time.
Yeah, he's just a great guy. He's just so smart and easygoing. He's very smart and down to earth, and that's a great combination because it's just fun and he'll laugh at himself or laugh at us. It's just one of those fun things.
Don't they say that you like or attracted to people and things that you don't understand? Well, you describe him as smart and funny and nice, yes. And of course, you and I don't understand or can relate to that. So, yeah.
Definitely different. I remember we were talking about the balcony last week. Jennifer hit the text line from Evansville. She refuses to sit in the balcony. It's horrible. It's certainly a trip. That's for sure, man. Wow. I can't. It's from my memory, and it's been so long since I've been in the balcony, but it was like a different. I don't know that I've ever been in any arena and I've been any higher ever. Any place. I'm trying to think because I've been in a lot of different arenas, but there's just none. Like Mackey Arena, the press seating is about 2/3 of the way up. We're at Assembly Hall and it's completely at the top. So
completely at the top of the bottom.
Yes,
completely at the top of the
right,
level.
Which is not very far from the balcony because it sits underneath of it. But the highest seat in Mackey Arena is still closer to the court than many things in Assembly Hall. They hold 3,000 less. But yeah, it's that balcony, man. That's you might as well just get a telegram on that deal.
When the Olympic team played, when Coach Knight's Olympic team in 1984 played an exhibition game at the Hoosier Dome, I sat in the absolute very top row. As high as you could possibly get, just to be there, just to be. I mean, you couldn't see anything. There wasn't.
Were you not supposed to be there?
No. It was full. The entire Hoosier Dome was full.
Oh, for the game.
Yeah.
Oh, the Hoosier Dome.
Yeah,
my bad.
The Hoosier Dome. It was full, and it wasn't like what they did when they blocked it off and there was 41,000 people.
Well, isn't that amazing? I mean, think about that. That's a lot. What was that, like 69? What did that thing hold? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was something like 60-some thousand people.
Because it had to be, because there was 41 at Damon's senior.
Right.
And that thing was turned sideways.
This one, they didn't block it off. Yeah.
That one they turned sideways. Like for the high school deal, it ran the length of the end zone across the court field like that. This was turned in the middle of the 50 you're talking about, like the same way the football field runs, with seats around it.
And you basically go for the experience at that point because you can't see anything that's going on, and you definitely can't process it in the same speed and excitement that it takes place. So obviously, if people, I do this whenever I have extra tickets at an IU game. I always try to go up to the balcony and give them to someone that's in the balcony to sit down lower because I respect the heck out of people. I know those people are there because they want just to be a part of the experience because it's definitely not for their viewing pleasure. That's for sure.
No, but and I mentioned before, the last experience I remember was that Illinois game. I think that was probably the 88-89 season when Jay Edwards hits we think is the winning shot, but then Nick Anderson hits freaking one to beat it. But even though I was in the balcony, and I can't remember crap hardly, but that's a memory that's imprinted in my mind. I mean, I was in the stinking balcony, but I cannot forget that game, man. It was just one of those wow, because I was there. Because that's one of those games that you can say one thing and you can, oh yeah, I don't know, oh yeah, it was him or this, that. It just brings it right back.
And the level of excitement, you go from such a high to such a low in such a short period of time.
I don't know that that's healthy. It was you talk about high, low. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not even healthy sometimes, but that's the thing about sports. You cannot manufacture that in any other way in life. It's just because it's raw, it's real, it's sincere, because it's based on your receiving of something out there and you can't control what's coming in. And that's the great thing about sports. And man, it's just one of those memories that last forever.
No question about that. Yeah. I mean, I was watching on TV. I remember it. I can still take you to where both of those shots were made. So
what is your biggest, as a fan, not what you played in, but something like that like that's imprinted on your brain from watching? I mean, you just talked about one of those memories, but you couldn't really see anything there.
It wasn't a good one. And I'm not trying to do it to stir up any, issue about someone, but I want to say it was 1998 at a game in Assembly Hall, and Ted Valentine threw Bob Knight out of a game. Well, actually, I can tell you it was February 25th, or February 24th.
What time was it?
98. You want to know why I know? Because my wife at the time's water broke with our first son.
Oh my gosh.
We were that angry about what was going on, and I was screaming. I lost my mind on Ted Valentine's. We were sitting right behind the bench. So yeah, my wife's water broke in Assembly Hall behind the bench in 1998 with my oldest son Max.
That is a great story he's got.
We got on the phone with our doctor to ask if we had time to drive all the way back to Indianapolis to get to
finish the game. Oh, I thought you were going to say, do I have time to finish the game?
No, I let her sit out in the car. She didn't have to stay inside. I let her sit out in the car while I finished.
Well, that was awfully nice of you.
I'm kidding, obviously.
That's a great story for Max, though, man. That is pretty cool.
It's all true.
Did they win the game?
No. You know what? I don't think so.
Who were they playing?
Do you remember Coach Knight getting thrown out of the game and he walked across the floor and it looked like he was getting ready to bump into Ted Valentine?
Yes, because he went the wrong way. He
went out a different door than he's ever gone out before. Yeah. That's the game. That's the game that it was at.
Yeah, he went big circle. Big circle. All right, man. We got a lot more coming up. Going to talk about a little NASCAR last night, but plenty more to get to. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Corey O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday, June 1st. Back with plenty more. And Raiders joins us later right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
The other one, but our non-conference is going to be pretty difficult. A couple games early. The Gavitt game usually is around the third one of the year. Maui would take on games 4, 5, and 6. Once we return from Maui, we'll be heading most likely to an ACC opponent. When we get done with the ACC opponent, we'll have those 2 Big Ten early games, or 2 conference games that will be played in December again. We'll have Butler in Indianapolis and a few more guarantee games that we've been able to finalize with our dates. So it's a very difficult non-conference schedule.
There's Archie talking about the preseason for Indiana basketball, the Gavitt games, the Maui. Now, I still wonder, was Maui going to happen? I mean, that's a question, and I would think that that's something they would try to get to as quickly as possible for, travel. Or are we talking fans, no fans? And you've pointed out that this gym only holds 2,500. While it's not the fans that in the gym per se, I think that there's probably a ton of more people that go over there just for the experience. I don't know that because I haven't been there for it, but I know that you've got, 8 teams. And so those 8 teams of bringing at least, say if you only bring 2,000 people, that's still 16,000 travelers are bringing over there. So, and that's what that's about.
Yeah, but you know this as well as anyone. You've kind of taught it to me over time. And we had this conversation back when the Big Ten tournament was canceled, in that, it's the TV money that kind of drives everything. And in college football, yes, they get 100,000 fans. And I'm not thumbing my nose at the fact that, yes, that's a lot of revenue, but it's nothing compared to the TV revenue. And, the TV revenue from a Maui Classic is, it's substantially different than the money that anybody would make off of selling tickets to the place. So it's just that's a thing that I think, as long as college football is somewhat normal of a season, I think Maui ought to happen.
I have no point of reference because I haven't been to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they hardly sell any tickets to that thing. I would imagine with as few as seats that they are, it's either controlled by the schools for immediate tickets or the hotels. I mean, there's just not that many people in that thing. It's smaller than most Indiana elementary school gyms. It does not hold much.
No, it's.
Didn't you play in it? Did you all play in it?
Yeah, we did.
What's it hold about?
It holds about 25. You're right on it. It's about 2,500 to 3,000.
Isn't it hotter than crap in there?
It is. The worst part about it is the doors are open, and so the floor is usually really slick. Maybe they've come up with a surface that's different because that was 30 years ago.
That's dangerous.
But it's a terrible situation, and it's as soon as you kind of forget about it and you just start playing, you kind of forget about it. You'll try to cut and slip on the floor once, and you're like,
And
well, this
you
sucks.
remember real quickly.
Yeah. And that's, I'm surprised they haven't had more issues with that situation. And maybe they haven't resolved. I honestly don't have a clue, but I can tell you the floor was always slick. And, if it would be a situation where Maui's kind of got some of the situations like Florida also, where it could be a beautiful day and all of a sudden pour down rain for 5 minutes and then it's a beautiful day again. And, everybody tracks that inside, and it's just the humidity and moisture in there is tough. But everything about it is cool. Like, when a game is played, it's kind of like it brings us back to like sectional days in high school when, they would have the whole place would be sold out for a certain group of people. And then after the game's over, it's not a matter of the next team's warming up. Like, they've got to clear the gym. Like, everybody, you're right about one aspect of it. If it's not, you don't buy a ticket and like an NCAA tournament ticket or a Big Ten tournament ticket and you're there for the day and you get to watch all the other teams play. Nope. You get to watch your team play. And then when that game's over, they clear the gym out and bring in the next group of people. And that part of it is kind of chaotic.
Yeah, I bet, especially for that small, even though it's smaller, so it's you got less to do, but it's still.
Yeah, I mean, the parking lot's like, it's not like the parking lot for Assembly Hall or Memorial Stadium. I mean, it's a parking lot for like the Hyper Building or the YMCA.
What is the building that it's played in?
It looks like a YMCA. It looks like a community center.
I think it's a rec center, which is
amazing. Yeah, it's what it looks like. It's what it looks like. I mean, there's a lot. There's 5 dozen rec centers in downtown Indianapolis that are bigger than what that place is.
Yeah, it's funny because it is just like some summer rec league, but yet there's usually 4 of the most premier teams in the country out there.
Yeah,
so it's just kind of funny to watch.
And it's an awesome event. I mean, it's so much fun. And what you said is exactly right. Like, I was very fortunate. I got to go there as a player. I also got to go there as a commentator with Don Fisher. And so I got to enjoy, obviously, a lot more of the aspects and the atmosphere of things when I went as an announcer versus as a player. Because as a player, we didn't get to do a whole lot. We did do
Shocker.
the most fun thing the most interesting thing we ever did in my entire time at IU was in the Maui Invitational, because Coach Knight, his love of history and interesting and reading about the wars and things like that. He got us on a very behind the scenes tour of Pearl Harbor and some of the ships, and we got to talk to some of the Navy captains down there. It was the coolest. You talk about a bunch of 20-year-old kids that think they're really smart and cool and big time. And to go into a situation like that, I mean, we could not have been more wide-eyed and interested about everything they were telling us. Those submarines and stuff, it's amazing how small those things are. I don't know how they do it.
Imagine living in one of those things.
No, that's what I mean. It's claustrophobic. The second that thing went under the water, I would be freaking out. They would lose me on that one.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go.
No,
you've got no place to go.
It's like watching. Did you see the SpaceX launch on
I
Friday?
did not get to see it, but I know that they're up there on the space station already, right?
Oh, if you get a chance, go back and watch how tiny that little rocket ship area is they're in that they blast off.
How long are they in that thing for?
It was like 14 hours, I think, before they got to dock on the space station.
God, I can't imagine not being able to move like that.
No. I mean, their legs were pinned down. I mean, they're going 14,000 miles an hour. I could not have been more uncomfortable watching it. It's so cool.
Let me ask you something. Are those guys athletes?
Athletes, no. Incredible scientists. They're incredible scientists.
NASCAR over the weekend, more fun, man. They were down at Bristol, and that is just a bull ring. Half-mile track where they just do nothing but beat and bang. And guess who was in position to win the race? And guess who got wrecked? Chase Elliott. Again, this time it was someone different.
What car number is he?
He is number 9.
Okay, I'm going to need for you to refer to him as the number 9 from now on.
The number 9 car. Okay,
yeah, well, I don't know these people by name.
I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were a big, because that's how they do it. Like, yeah, the number 9.
He's the 9.
He was up my butt. I had to put him in the wall.
Coming up on my left. Yep.
That was with the number 9 car. Got put in the wall again, and was going for a win. So I can't wait to see how that comes out. But that usually happens in that race. So I didn't get to see I fell asleep watching the finish of that. So
NASCAR races are kind of like your friend group as a kid when you're growing up. There's always a friend who's the number 9. There's always the friend that gets picked on. There's always the little guy when you're playing football games that gets knocked down, but he's so tough he just hangs in there. And it's like a childhood wolf pack.
Major League Baseball continues to me on a course of disaster, although they're still squabbling over money. And the funny thing is, there are owners who are saying, "Screw! I don't even want a season this year." Which I get it; they're going to do nothing but lose money. Owners will lose money if they have a season. There's no doubt, because they're not going to be in their own stadiums. If they're going to be probably somewhere, either in Orlando or wherever they're going to be. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know.
How could that be the case?
That's true. That's probably not the case for baseball.
That's what the NBA is talking about.
The NBA is going to be in Orlando, but I just don't know how they're going to lose money, and it's the players are wanting full salaries. It's just a bunch of crap over. This is the wrong time to be arguing for that stuff. It's just wrong. I'm sorry.
I held my own very peaceful protest last night after I read some stuff about the Major League Baseball guys not wanting any more pay cuts. I did my own chant and walked around the house chanting, "Shut it down," just like the protesters downtown Indianapolis were doing about Major League Baseball. And I was very peaceful. There was no outbreaks of violence, and I looted the refrigerator a couple of times, but other than that, it was very peaceful protest. And I hope they shut down Major League Baseball season.
That's hilarious.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I do agree. I do agree. It's just, man. It's so different. Look,
we're in a time where we've never had the feelings that we have right now. This stuff's never happened before. And the last thing I need to hear is some crybaby making millions and millions of dollars complaining that he's only going to make half of millions and millions of dollars. Like, give me a break. And we're talking 37 million down to 19 million. And you think you have a justification for making a negative comment about that? Give me a break.
I agree, man. I agree. It's just it's just funny to see that stuff continue. It's not funny to see that stuff continue, but
it's sad.
It's surprising. You're right. It's surprising because everybody else seems like they're trying to work together toward a middle. Major League Baseball, boy, those guys are not. They don't seem like that, and it is probably the sport to me that has the least ability to do that. They already made people angry a long time ago with the strike before. They get paid more than anybody, and it's just wow.
And the real bad part is this is a great opportunity to be on the forefront of helping fix a lot of issues. Think right now, if baseball was going on and they were the entertainment and everyone knew, like, they donated 90% of their salaries or whatever it was. I know none of this is ever going to happen, but just think about what they could do for baseball. And instead, they're doing the opposite. I mean, they're making themselves look even worse.
Yeah, and there's no talk about doing anything toward. It's just, man.
We need to get a baseball guy on here sometime. We haven't had baseball guests. We need a baseball guy's perspective because maybe they can enlighten us.
Rick Bozich is a big fan of the Chicago White Sox. I don't know if that counts. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I don't know the joke.
Did you just call Bozich a cheerleader?
No, he's a fan of the Chicago White Sox.
Oh,
he's just a fan of the White Sox. Long time. He's from the region. All those regions.
He is? I thought he was from Louisville.
No, he lives down there, but he's originally from the region.
Is he really?
He went to the same school, the same high school as Greg Popovich up in Maryville. I think it was Maryville.
You said that like everybody knows where Greg Popovich went to high school.
Well, a lot of people do. Coach of the former coach of the Spurs.
I know who he is. I couldn't have told you.
You didn't know he
went to school.
Oh yeah, he's from Maryville, man. He's from
that.
Maryville. Well, Rick Bozich's boss is actually going to join us next. Aaron Matus from DLB Fox 41 in Louisville. We'll be talking to him when we come back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. You're listening to Coyle and Larry, powered by Rivals. We're back right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily, Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you on this June 1st Monday. Golf Club Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. We're joined now by our good friend Aaron Matus from Fox 41. Sir, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well this Monday morning, boys. Thanks for having me on.
As always, good deal. Hope you had a great weekend. The weather was incredible.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. It was good to be able to get outside, and I am not one to enjoy the humidity that comes with southern Indiana, and it was gone this weekend, so it was lovely.
I'm telling you, it was the same way up here in Bloomington. It was amazing. Hopefully that continues as we head towards the summer. But I saw that, and Todd pointed out that mentioned the U of L athletes are kind of getting back sooner than a lot of others. But Todd, you pointed out, what was that, a couple of days ago that you sent that out? Maybe those guys.
Yeah, I think I'd seen something about U of L athletic director mentioning Monday or today would be the return to campus. So that's a good sign for college athletics in general, and cool to see Louisville being on the forefront of that.
They did not waste any time. Vince Tyre is a pretty successful businessman before he, and by pretty successful, I mean very successful. And he had a plan in place before the NCAA came out and lifted their ban on athletes basically getting together and working out. So as soon as they had to go, he was out the next day announcing their plan to return to campus, which, yeah, you're right. They come back today. They go through testing tomorrow and then a little bit of quarantine before they can start working out on the 8th. and they're doing it in phases. So I believe it's 30 football players, 15 each from men's and women's basketball, and 15 swimmers. So they're trying to see how it goes with a smaller group, and if it goes well, more, and if it doesn't go well, they'll obviously scale it back. But it's something, man. Small signs of life in the sporting world.
Yeah, and that will put pressure on other programs. I mean, of course, Louisville's in the ACC, but whether it's Indiana, the Big Ten, it doesn't matter. Every day that you are not doing this and somebody else is, you're falling a day behind. And if we look what the football season is only, I looked at it, I'm like, Indiana's scheduled to play Wisconsin on September 4th? That's only 3 stinking months from now, man. It's amazing how close we are in reality, which that doesn't mean that there's not going to be some movement, but you have to think of advantages, and you know that any coach is always looking for an advantage.
Yeah, and I haven't I can speak to Louisville simply because Vince Tyra has held a couple of availabilities since all this happened, and he has hinted at the fact that there are some schools in the ACC that aren't ready to come back, and that's each individual school and their president and athletic director's decisions. But I imagine we'll see that across the country a little bit, is that some schools are more eager to get students back on campus while others want to play it more cautious. And he said if that's the case come football season, the ACC commissioners and athletic directors and whatnot have decided they'll play on. So if there's a school or 2 or 3 that aren't wanting to do it or maybe aren't allowed to because of their state guidelines, that the conference plays on. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It doesn't need to be unanimous within the conference.
Yeah, because I think we've seen even whatever it is, not everybody's at the same level. I mean, I don't know when Indiana's going to have athletes back. I know that they're working towards that, but there's no announcement to my knowledge. So, where are they going to be? How's the conference going to align things? Or is there going to be a delay in the start of the season? Can they do that? I mean, at least they have room from the end of the season to the bowl season. There is that little buffer built into college football.
Yeah, that's true. And, most people have settled in on this 6 weeks return to play. So, most football programs, I should say, that seems to be across the board saying that we need 6 weeks to ramp up and get ready for any type of season. Here in Louisville, Vince Tyra hinted at the fact that if we're allowed to get back on campus like we are ahead of all this, then that 6-week window becomes more like 4 weeks. 4 weeks, because we can do some of that preliminary stuff since we're back on campus. Again, for what that's worth, it could be different in different schools, but just kind of an idea of what one school needs timetable-wise to get ready for what is still an early September kickoff right now.
Yeah, and we talked, there's so many other things. Archie Miller talked to Don Fisher. We had him on a little bit, played a little piece of that, of the season coming up, and talked about different things. But one of the things mentioned is Indiana is scheduled to play in Maui this year. And I'm like, okay, there's been no word on that. Of course, I know they haven't. They're going to wait till the last second to do that. But, Todd has played in that, and this is not something that's built on fans in the stands, although they have them. It's not necessary. But are they going to go through the trouble of people flying, that far away and all that travel? I wonder what that's going to be like.
And if anything, it cost you and Todd your trip to Hawaii, which is a tragedy as well, right?
Damn right.
No question. There are some tragedies that have come out of all of this, but that would be up there on the list.
No doubt about that. But it's weird because that's such a staple of college basketball, and especially it's become one of those staples of opening the season. And there's always 4 really good teams over there, and it's just a great way to start. Not just for the teams, but for the fans, it's a great way to start that off. Plus, we all get to see Bill Walton in Hawaiian shirts, and that's Todd's favorite thing.
Yeah, that was
as long as. No, go ahead, Aaron. My comment won't be valid, trust me.
I was just going to say, that's obviously one you hear that a school you follow, you cover, you like is in, and it's exciting because you're going to get some good games. Well, I guess unless you go and lose like they did a couple of years ago under Tom Crean, you don't get the marquee games that you were hoping to play, but really good chance at playing some good opponents out there, I should say. and it's a fun, it's one of those early conference, non-conference tournaments that's just got college basketball attention. So it would be a shame if it didn't happen. I understand if it doesn't. Obviously, what just happened? Kentucky and Michigan canceled their London game, and I think Kentucky scrambled and scheduled Notre Dame. So I think John Calipari is doing anything he can to kind of torment anyone that wants to see the Indiana-Kentucky series continue.
Did you see the Mike Bray comment?
On the
I
series?
reposted it. Yeah, he said it's good to see two blue bloods of college basketball renew this series. I mean, that's a direct shot at Archie Miller in Indiana, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how there's any other way you look at that.
Well, he's got history, right? I mean, he was the one. What was it, 2015 at the Crossroads, saying, "Why aren't people looking at us? We're the premier program in the state."
Yeah, when you have to say that, it's probably not the case, and it's so but I think he's funny. Like, I get a kick out of the things. He doesn't make me mad when he makes statements like that.
I think he's great.
It's kind of one of those situations where I think he's, it's a much different level and platform, but when he's using his level and platform to kind of take shots at the bigger programs, and I get it. I mean, from a basketball perspective, there are probably people across the country that are probably decent, would consider themselves pretty big time basketball fans that couldn't even tell you Notre Dame's in the state of Indiana.
That is probably true. I mean, he's competing for the same level as the talent pool in Indiana is great. He wants them just as much as anyone else. So why not cause a little ruckus, make sure people know where you stand and where you're at. And I'm with you guys. I like Mike, and we oftentimes go crazy when we get good sound bites, but really that's all we want. Good sound bites. There's no shortage with him.
He is Mr. Soundbite. And talk about Indiana football. I mean, there's a lot of expectations this year, Aaron, with this fall. And they open up at Wisconsin, but Indiana, this is not your grandpa's Indiana team. They've got expectations coming with Michael Penix. If he can stay healthy, this team is expected to do more than they did last year. And last year was, I don't want to call it a historic year for them, with an 8-5 season and a loss in the bowl game, but it was potentially a historic season that they have as much or more coming back this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Last year, I think the history from last year remains to be told, if that makes sense. If it was a truly turning point in Indiana's football program, then absolutely we'll look back at the 2019 season as the catalyst for it. And I hope that's the case. I think you're right. They got a chance to build off of what was a great season last year. They've got the talent, and in my opinion, they've got the schedule again to have some success. I know that sounds a little crazy when you're opening up at Wisconsin. But yeah, I think there are some expectations, and I'm just, listen, I cover Indiana. I'm a journalist when I go to the games, but when I'm not, there's a big part of my heart that wants to see the Hoosiers do well. And this season looks like they've got the pieces aligned. There's some preseason rankings, which is unheard of with Indiana football. And I'm like, if this is the season that gets canceled, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. Well, I remember I saw someone's tweet from months ago and said, here's the most assured fact that the season will be canceled. Indiana's preseason ranked in the top 20 or something. And it was like, you can guarantee the season's going to get canceled. Let's hope not. But yeah, looking for, I mean, Todd, you grew up a basketball player, but the football program was kind of languishing during your time. But at the same time, Bill Mallory was the tail end of that. So your experience was a little different.
It was. And, you're saying that you use quite often of this is not your grandfather's team in whatever aspect it is. And it's different when it comes to IU football because we want it to be our grandfather's team because they were pretty good back in the night. They went to the Rose Bowl in the 60s. So we want it to be kind of our grandpa's team. But, I compared it for a long time, and I don't say this to be mean about it, but IU football, from an IU football fan's perspective, is kind of like being a Cubs fan, in that every year this was going to be the year that they were going to kind of turn it around. And so many different years that just didn't happen. I was very fortunate during my time in the early 90s that the football team with Anthony Thompson and some of those teams, they were pretty good. And so I remember the buzz that created. And it was almost kind of, when success breeds success. And when these guys, when they were doing well, like, I mean, we wanted to do better. And I think the soccer team wanted to do better. And the women's basketball team wanted to do better. Like, they have a lot of clout, not just financially, but when it comes to how people view your school, football and men's basketball just seem to be the two things that they base, your whole athletic department on a lot of times. And so, this football team in building on what Aaron said is, this football team for the first time in a really long time has a ton of high expectations. And I don't mean from the coaches. I know the coaches always do. But from the outside and media and fan perspective, this team, people are excited to see what this team can do. And that, yeah, it's a lot of extra pressure, but on the flip side of it, as an athlete and a coach, you want that pressure and you want that expectation.
No doubt. Aaron, and another thing come up, Aaron, we were talking about, it's a total different subject, but baseball and how baseball is kind of on a collision course with disaster right now because of a little bit of greed, I think. But I was like, man, I wish we had Rick Bozich on. He's a big Chicago White Sox fan. But, man, baseball is not endearing themselves to the fan base right now, I don't think.
Yeah, and, you're right about Rick Bozich. He's going to go crazy without baseball this summer, I think. But him and I talk pretty frequently and exchange articles we read and everything, and it is a shame. I mean, you'd think with baseball had a chance to I shouldn't say a chance, they were forced to hit pause on their season, but they hadn't really gotten started. So in my opinion, there's not as much to juggle there in terms of restarting like the NBA and NHL have had to figure out, and yet it seems like the NBA and NHL are ahead of Major League Baseball in returning and trying to get a postseason put together and thinking outside the box with how they're going to do so. And I agree with the word you used, greed. It sounds like the owners were trying to let this play out in the media, and in my opinion, it's not going very well. I think people kind of see it is what it is, so to speak. They had agreed upon something, and now they're worried about revenue and wanting to share revenue or whatever comes in versus the agreed upon salaries. And the players aren't having any of it. So if you believe what you're seeing online and reading articles, it sounds like we're further away from a baseball season getting put together and happening than we were, say, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's sad because a lot of people could use as many distractions as possible right now. I mean, I was talking about yesterday. Normally, we've had, even though there's not really a lot of sports going on, we've had some stuff. I mean, other than the NASCAR race, there was really nothing this weekend, which NASCAR Bristol is always kind of fun, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't a lot. Yep.
And I thought about it on Memorial Day. Obviously there's lots of thoughts that go through your head on Memorial Day, but a lot of these professional leagues, they've got their holidays, right? And I always think of Memorial Day and 4th of July too for baseball, because usually that's the day you flip on the TV and you're like, oh, that's right, the Reds play a 1:00 game today. Or, for me, the Twins have a day game that I can tune in and watch or whatever, and 4th of July, there's usually games all day, and it was just kind of a thought that went through my head, being like, this is, just another day in the sports world right now that's kind of lost to all this craziness, and it is sad.
Absolutely. Aaron, you got anything coming up the folks need to know about?
Big thing is how we started this conversation is just we're going to kind of keep an eye on return to campus right now. That's kind of the big subject. Obviously hope it goes well because then we can take the next step. But yeah, I mean, today, Louisville athletes back on campus. Tomorrow, they're going to be testing them, is the first step. And we just need to keep an eye on that. And also, I only have a three-day work week, so I'm looking at a 4-day weekend coming up. That's what I'm really looking at.
Well,
that's a big deal.
I'm not going to be a hater. I'm going to salute you and congratulate you for managing to do that again on the back of a 4-day week we just had. So congratulations to you.
We
appreciate you.
I did.
What's that?
I did work the holiday.
So there you go. So
Yeah, there you go.
It all evens out.
It's a delayed holiday for you. Works out.
That's what it is.
Well, brother, we
Exactly.
appreciate you as always. Our good friend Aaron Matus from Fox 41 in Louisville joining us. Thank you, sir, and I hope you have a great week.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
You betcha, buddy.
See you,
Our
buddy.
good friend Aaron Matus joining us from Fox 41. We got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Well, Corey Lear, we're not done for a break yet, but we're getting close there. But yeah, he's always fun to talk to. I should have brought up the fact that he's from Maxley, Minnesota, but we talked about that enough, I guess. Move on from that. But yeah, Major League Baseball, he's the same way. I'm just surprised that, especially when you see all these other sports, they're not having that problem. It's like everybody, they all understand except for this one group. And it's,
and maybe that's the case, but it also is kind of, I think, what Aaron said, in that the owners and players at this point are both kind of playing it out in the media. I think maybe more than some of the other leagues are. And it's different. There are people out there, and I recognize and understand this. There are people out there who love, baseball as much as we love college basketball and college football and that stuff. So to them, this is a much bigger deal. To me, I'm like, all right, cancel it. You want to act like that? Fine. Who cares? Yeah. Because I won't watch, between now and the playoffs in baseball, I won't watch 2 baseball games, and I won't watch 1 baseball game from beginning to end. So it's not like, to me, it's not that big a deal. I know there are people that's not the case. And, heck, I spent a lot of time with Joe Smith from the IU radio network. He lives for that.
Absolutely. Hey, we got more coming up on Indiana Sports Beat with Corey Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Go to thehoosier.com for complete coverage of Indiana athletics. We're back with more right after this.
Closing time. This room won't be open till you.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic. Safe, effective, even money saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Corey Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday, June 1st. Man, it is going to be an incredible day out there, and it's going to be a nice few days before the rains come in.
It's going to be hot.
It is definitely going to be heading in that direction. We talked about all the civil unrest earlier. One other thing I forgot to mention or just failed to mention, one of the two people that was shot over the weekend in Indianapolis is a former IU football player, Chris Beatty. He was involved in a lot of positive things from my understanding. We don't know anything about it or anything like that, but just you had to mention it. But a former football player, he was a manager for some nightclubs, but he had done a lot of positive things in the community. I think he was working on a company right now with new masks and things like that. So just I don't know very, very much about this at all. But
yeah, I don't think they've released a ton of details about it. It's just obviously it's sad when anything like that takes place, but the fact that he's part of the IU football family, obviously impacts us a little bit differently. And it's just bad. I mean, I didn't know him personally, but I know a lot of people that did, and they all spoke incredibly highly of him. So it's a terrible situation.
He's involved in the Colts. He graduated from Cathedral in 2000. Played on 3 state championship teams: 96, 8, and 9. They won a state champion that he was a part of. Even Eric Gordon, former IU basketball player, tweeted out about him. What a great guy! Had some good times at IU. Truly be missed. All right, rest in peace from Eric Gordon. But yeah, just sad news, and hopefully we can get out of this stuff and get back to positive things and people. And I think that there, as weird as it sounds, that more people want positivity out of this, and hopefully it heads in that direction.
Boy, I mean, you talk about getting to the low point. I think we got to be getting pretty darn close to the low point right now. I mean, things have got to turn around, and man, this is just 2020, for the first half of 2020 is going to be a year that a lot of people are going to want to forget. And there's not been a lot of positivity take place for so many different aspects of things.
How much of the confinement from COVID-19 do you, and I know this is just a guess because we neither of us are experts in any way of this. We're just two guys. But I just started realizing the COVID-19 confinement, everybody's been confined, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. You've been kept in. And now this pressure cooker of an event goes off right at that time, man. It's not exactly the greatest timing in that regards either, but
yeah, I mean,
there's definitely an effect.
Psychologically, I mean, most of us took psychology classes in school, and it's funny because once you get older, then you want to read about some of this stuff, and it is interesting to read about how the quarantine and the confinement and all of those terms, how they do affect people, and it affects everybody differently. And it's just we kind of are at a point of things manifesting all at the same time. And I think you're right. I think the reaction to this current situation is probably different than how it would have been handled if it weren't during a pandemic. Doesn't mean we wouldn't still have some looting and rioting and some of those things. But I don't think you can also say that I don't think that the pandemic has had an effect on the degree to which some people are reacting to this situation.
Absolutely. Hope it'll be a lot better when we can get back to sports because that's what we do better. And hopefully that society gets in that direction. But and that makes you really think about the baseball again. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's like, golly, if nothing else, once in your life, you can't take one stinking season and not think about yourself.
Right.
It just really hammers that home to me.
We talk about it a lot, and we do it, from different angles and different perspectives, but sports brings people together. I mean, we talk about that, whether it's within your own team and your own unit,
It's
or
a great equalizer.
It really is. It brings it doesn't bring everyone together because everyone doesn't love sports. I mean, I can also say, the opera brings people together. It does. That community of people, it brings them together. And sports, it just has a huge following and a huge community. There's a ton of different sports, and there's a ton of different fans that cross lines, and it brings people together. And we're missing out on that. So I don't think any of us can overlook the fact that, the pandemic is definitely having an effect on people. People are not getting together for tailgates, and people are not, they're not getting together for the things that they're used to doing. And once we get out of our comfort zones and have to start doing something differently, sometimes we don't react that well to it.
That makes you wonder, what is tailgating going to look like this year? Will there be tailgating? Which,
based on those pictures from the Ozarks, I'm going to say it's going to look real similar, real similar to what it did last year.
Especially down south in the SEC, it probably won't be much difference. But you got to think about that. And I meant to ask Aaron, because I think about this now. I'm thinking about covering whether it's IU football, IU basketball, but I'm sitting there and envisioning everybody being in masks now at these games, especially if you're in a press box, which is where I will be all the time, or not. They don't have a press box at an assembly hall, of course, but you've got indoor seating. But I wonder what's that going to look like? It's
going to look goofy and weird for sure. But I think that's only going to be a short-term thing, because after a while, it'll look normal. And you know how we all adjust to those things. And right now, when I first started going to the grocery store and a couple people had masks on, I was kind of, in my own mind, I was kind of like, all right, you're being a little overprotective. And now I only notice the people who don't have a mask on. So it's a total flip-flop of what becomes normal to you. And that's one of the things that we're great as human beings in being able to do, is adjust to what our new norm is. And heck, I'm telling you, I would have bet you 2 months ago, I would have bet you there is no chance I would wear a mask into a grocery store. And now I don't go into the grocery store without wearing a mask on, only because I don't want to offend somebody. I'm not afraid of getting it. I'm not nervous of getting it. The percentage of me dying from it is so low that I don't want it to happen, but I'm not afraid of it. But I want someone else to think I'm willing to take whatever precaution needs to happen in order for them to be safe. And that's the reason I wear it. And it's not a big deal. I mean, think about it. It's not that big a deal. You throw a mask on, you walk in, walk out, you take it off.
I forget I have it on, to be honest with you.
I do too.
I have to, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be in my car driving, leaving Kroger, and I'm like, oh, I still got that damn mask on.
Oh, I'm not that. The second I walk out the door, I can't wait to get it off. I'm telling you, I'm a undiagnosed claustrophobe, because certain restrictions on me just absolutely make me start to freak out.
Well, something else that occurred to me, we're thinking about what's it going to look like, say, in the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I can tell you something right now that I'm thinking will be different, because, right now as the restaurants open, you still cannot sit at a bar. These big money seats, there's no way they're going to let people sit around the court 2 feet off of the edge line now. All those big money people, big donors to sit there.
Yeah, I don't disagree. They'll figure out some way to make it happen. You know what, though? But look at it.
They'll probably float. They'll probably raise it up and they can float over the court.
That's right. Those seats will not be the same ones they were, but they'll be the closest ones to the court, but they won't be where they were.
Yeah, it's going to change is coming, man. It just how much change are we looking at?
Cool part is I'm sure we'll adjust to it.
Of course.
And be the real key is for us to have some type of entertainment. We'll adjust to how we have to view it and that stuff accordingly. But
this is all temporary, because there's no way people are going to live like this forever. Because there will be a vaccine eventually. There will be. You'd think that they would get to that point, because you have to return to normal. This stuff can't be turned into the new norm forever, where you have to wear a mask. I mean, my gosh.
But how long is it going to be before if you're out at a restaurant and someone sneezes or starts coughing, everyone's not going to immediately snap their neck towards them and look at them
Never.
and think that's going to be a long time.
I don't know. I mean, boom, you got that right. It's like, shit,
Think about right now in November of this year. I mean, it seems to be common for me. Like I get a mild version of the flu. Like it seems like in sometime in November every year. I don't know why that's the case, but in my last 15 years, I can kind of remember it always happening. And so this year, when that happens, when someone gets just the normal flu, they're going to be treated like they have the plague. Like it's going to be, it's going to be different.
Yeah, it's a new world order, but hopefully we just continue to march through it. But I hope everyone has a great and safe day, and enjoy June as best you can. And let's start. Let's everybody love each other. It's the little Tom Allen, LEO, some Tom Allen for you,
please.
But, absolutely. Hopefully every day you come back, it's a better day, but go out and have a good day. Let's go out and everybody do one thing positive today. That'd be cool. If everybody did one thing positive, that'd be a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask.
Well, all you can do is ask. All you can do is ask. We appreciate it. Appreciate Aaron Maidens joining us on the program today. Look forward to coming back tomorrow and do it all over again. Chronic Hoosier will be with us for sure. Until then, for Todd and Jimmy, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.